Good morning. We're here for our weekly Marion County Board of Commissioners meeting. It's Wednesday, September 28, 2016. And if you will join us, we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I think I turned it off because I was gabbing too much before we got started. Well, okay, I'll say that again. Just for the record, good morning. It is our weekly Board of Commissioners meeting on Wednesday, September 28th, and we just had the flag salute, so thanks for joining us with that. We have one person signed up for public comment. Welcome, David, if you want to come up over to the side. David Beam.
Thank you, Commissioners. My name's David Beam. I'm an advocate for special needs population. Asking the county commissioners, and when everybody in the city and the county will come to county commissioners meetings and talk about what's needed for this county for Oregon, because a lot of people don't know where the county's commissioners' office is. So I was wondering if we can get that out like a flyer or something out there, let the public know where the county meetings are here for the county. I think we need to put like a flyer out or get it on the web more for the county commissioners. And more people will come.
Thank you, David. Yeah. We do post these meetings, all our meetings. There's a calendar. In fact, I'll be reading the calendar at the end of every board session that has all the public meetings that we're going to be involved with, potentially that where there's two or more commissioners that would be there.
And so I was thinking if we can do like things for the blind and the deaf. Because a lot of them can't read and some of them can, are blind, can't know where them are. So I was thinking if we can fix it in a little bit better for them too.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank
for the
you.
County.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for always being here.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay, so we have a record long consent calendar today. We have none on the consent calendar, so.
And I am honored to not be able to read it today.
Great, so we don't need a motion for the consent calendar. Very short agenda today. And we have, I guess we'll go back on the agenda to the presentation. I skipped right over the top of the presentation. It's a good thing we didn't have a consent calendar because I would have been out of order. So we have a presentation today about the 10th anniversary for the Marion County Dog Shelter. And Tamara and Dean are here with us today. And I think I'm going to be out there on the 8th. Is that October 8th, right? Saturday that we're going to celebrate?
Yes. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good. I think they're going to put me in the sheriff's dog bite suit or something like that.
Perhaps.
Appropriate.
I think I've seen it happen before.
Yeah, it's not
All right.
uncommon.
These
Well,
are
for
a
the-
different kind of dog, Commissioner. They don't bite.
That's right. So for the record, I'm Tamara Getch. I'm the Director of Community Services, and I have with me today.
Hello, Commissioners. I'm Dean Fries, Marion County Dog Shelter Manager.
So we're here to talk to you this morning about a celebratory event that Commissioner Cameron mentioned just moments ago on October 8th that Dean will talk a little bit more about. And I just wanted to give the public just a really brief history about the dog shelter. Marion County has a long history of caring for its community through dog control and licensing services. In 1972, Marion County became involved in providing dog control services to the public. And then in the mid-70s, it contracted with the Willamette Valley Humane Society to provide housing for the dogs that it put in its care. However, in 2002, Marion County was was notified that the shelter would need to be finding alternative care for the dogs, that they would be ending their contract with Marion County. So Marion County was in a position where it needed to identify alternative location. Through many meetings and discussions, it was determined it was best for a shelter to be established in Marion County, and in 2005, construction of the existing shelter began. And in 2006, that shelter opened. We began doing adoptions and licensing out of the shelter. And since that time, we've just had an amazing amount of work that has happened within the shelter. We've changed lives, not only in some of the dogs that have come through the door, but we've also worked with our volunteers to engage our community in our work, and as well as really finding those forever families for those dogs that are looking for alternative families to live in once they come into the shelter. But the exciting part that's coming up recently here is Dean is going to talk about our celebratory event on October 8th for the 10-year anniversary. Dean?
Yep. Well, you may have seen this advertisement around town. We have done an advertising blitz, not only with the flyers that are posted in a lot of the windows of businesses around town, but also articles in the Statesman Journal, as well as you may have heard last week, we did 2 radio spots on KMUZ and KBZY. And we are doing our best to get the word out to let everyone know about the Marion County Dog Shelter 10-year anniversary celebration. It's going to be 1 week from this Saturday, on Saturday, October 8th, and that's from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. So please join us for this special event. Pictured here is our beautiful 10,000 square foot dog shelter located at 3550 Almsville Highway Southeast. And that's across the street from the FedEx Distribution Center and next to the Sheriff's Office. And then we also are kicking off the celebration at 10 a.m., but at 11 a.m., as Commissioner Cameron said, he will be live and in person giving us a talk about how exciting it is to have our dog shelter, and he'll have some talking points and be able to meet and greet all of the people that are there to celebrate with us. We're also celebrating 10 years of service to our community. And so the 10th anniversary will be very family friendly. There's going to be many children's activities. You see pictured here a new feature in our dog shelters. We call it the Book Nook. These children's books about dogs have been donated, but at the celebration we'll have arts and crafts table and a coloring contest that's already on our Facebook page, pumpkin decorating, and lots of other things for the kids. And then we are also celebrating...
Dean, can I interrupt? Is
Sure.
the dog cake, is that something I get to eat, or is that for dogs?
We're going to have refreshments for you and for all the public, but the dog cake is specifically for the dogs.
For dogs?
Right.
Can I bring my dog?
Yes, you may.
Are people going to bring their dogs that show up? Is that going to be that type of thing, or?
You may bring your dog. We have an area that is specifically for the dogs to congregate. We'll have an alumni picture of all the dogs that have been adopted at the facility at 10 a.m. So absolutely, we won't let you bring the dog inside the dog
Okay,
shelter, though.
all right.
Right.
Just wanted to clarify whether I got the cake or the dog.
So we were going to have playgroup demonstrations. There are many benefits to having playgroups, and that's playgroups for the dogs themselves. It's good because it increases a dog shelter, or a shelter dog's quality of life, and enriching their physical and mental capabilities. It improves their adaptability, and providing exercise in a fun way. And we also rely on our many valued volunteers at the dog shelter. They administer a lot of these play groups, and last year we had well over 2,000 hours of volunteer time, and that equates to about 40 hours a week. So they come in, they walk the dogs on the weekend, and they just do a fantastic job. We really appreciate what they do for our shelter. We're also celebrating 10 years of reuniting lost dogs with their families. About 55% of all the dogs that come through our shelter get returned to their owners within the first few days. And so at our 10th anniversary celebration, we'll also feature dog training tips and demonstrations such as leash walking, treat training, and other basic commands. So a huge part of our 10-year celebration will focus on our forever families. So if you don't know what a forever family is, these are the people in Marion County who adopt our dogs and then provide that family for the dogs. And through the 10 years, this is equivalent to over 2,500 dogs that have been placed with families. And what better way to do this than to celebrate with refreshments? That includes anniversary cake, cider, and coffee. Adams Ribs will be providing a hot dog stand, and they are going to donate 10% of those proceeds back to the shelter. And then we have the dog-only anniversary cake that we talked about, and the kids will be decorating those treats. We'll also celebrate 10 years of providing medical care to the lost dogs. And you have pictured here at the top, Roxanne O'Brien. She's one of our dog technicians. The shelter tours will take place, so they'll be able to see all of our facility. So we'll have those guided tours every half hour, and then we'll also have donated door prizes every half hour. We will also have rescue booths for our anniversary partners like PAL, CAFA, Hope's Haven, Lucky Love Rescue, and Operation Dog Rescue. There at the top picture is a slide of some of our valued volunteers who received I almost did what you did, 2015 Marion County Certificate of Appreciation for the work that they do every weekend at our outreach events. And then their picture down below is one of those events that they do on the weekends. As part of our 10-year celebration, we will have Terry Jacobson, who will be taking pet and family photos. And that's going to happen, as I said, at 10 a.m. for the alumni group photo, but then throughout the entire day. Terry will be donating half of her proceeds back to the dog shelter that day. As we approach this 10-year milestone in the planning of it, we contemplated ways to make that very unique. And we wanted to focus on our forever families, those who've adopted our dogs throughout the 10 years. And so we sent out about 2,800 letters. We've had nearly 3,000 who have actually adopted, but only 2,800 of those do we have current addresses for. So we sent out letters to invite them to our anniversary celebration, but also encourage them to send in pictures so that we could do collages. So those will also be displayed throughout our lobby. And we've received over 100 of those so far. You may have heard it said that it takes a village, and indeed we are celebrating 10 years of community business partnerships. So there you see a whole lot of local businesses that have donated door prizes and helped in other ways to make this 10-year anniversary celebration possible. So we appreciate the outpouring of these donations. And even though the 10-year anniversary celebration will be happening on October 8th, we are still open for business that day. In fact, we will be doing dog licensing services, which we've done throughout our 10-year of being open. And so the dog licenses will be sold at the event. And so please, if you do come, bring your rabies certificate for that purpose. And in fact, September 17th, we held an amnesty event out in Almsville, and we issued over 100 dog licenses that day. Wow. And as you know, licenses benefits dogs and their families and the communities. And to bring more awareness to Marion County, we are launching a massive dog licensing campaign initiative. There you see pictured is the insert that we'll be including to over 84,000 Marion County property owners as part of their tax statement. We will have a full-page insert with the front being in English and the back being the same as what you see there in Spanish. So we're hoping that will really help bring more awareness and result in more dog licenses being issued. And last but not least, we are celebrating 10 years of professional staff members. Here you see a picture from top left is Sonia Pulver. She's been with us for 12 years. She's the outreach coordinator. Karen Hilfiger, she's our dog control officer, one of them. She's been with us for 24 years, although the shelter's only been open 10 years. She was, as Tamara explained, with the county prior as in the same capacity. And then Lori Lee Hungford, 9 years. She's a dog technician. Allison Barrows, 9 years. She is a lead worker. And there you see at the bottom left, Charlie and Tiffany. Charlie's been in our front office for 10 years. Tiffany's brand new, only been with us a month. And then Shar, Parsegian, and Roxanne, who you already saw a picture of, they are dog technicians. Shar's been with us a year and a half, and Roxanne 8 years. And then Lindsay is a new dog control officer, but she's been with us for 5 years. And then Heather on the bottom right, she's been with us a year in the front office, and not pictured as Amy Young. She is our new dog technician as well. So finally, we come back to the beginning, and we brought some more of these if you would like. These are the flyers, and if anyone has questions, we would love to answer those.
Well, really, no questions. It looks like it's going to be a great event, and you're getting the word out, and it's, I'm hoping to be able to come myself, so very excited about all of the way it's coming together and all of the great activities that you're going to have there. I just wanted to reemphasize a few of the historical things in terms of kind of how we got there. First of all, dog services exists in Marion County because the voters of Marion County actually passed it by an initiative petition back in the 1980s. So the Oregon statutes don't require a county to have dog services, but in Marion County, our citizens said this is what we want to do. And I don't know exactly the history prior to when I came here, other than when I came here, dog services were provided by the Humane Society. And that's the way it had been for a number of years. And we got notice that very first year I was here, which was 2003, that the Humane Society just felt like their mission did not include euthanizing dogs, which is a piece, certainly not the preeminent piece that we do. We try to adopt dogs, but there are instances where we have to euthanize. And so they gave notice to the county that they wanted us to go a different direction. So I think it's important to emphasize that as well, that we didn't just kind of jump out and say, well, we want to have a dog shelter. The citizens said, we want you to do dog services. Our longtime vendor, provider of those dog services gave us notice they weren't going to do it anymore, and we had to find another option. And initially that other option was to purchase a kennel. A gentleman was retiring, going out of business, and wanted to sell us his kennel. And we negotiated on that for a number of months, and those negotiations fell through primarily because when governments buy property, there are certain requirements that they're asked to follow. You get an appraisal, you do the appraised price. And I think the gentleman was hopeful that we would actually purchase his business, but we weren't buying the business, we were buying the property. And so that fell apart. So it was really at that point that we said, well, could we build a shelter on county property and run it ourselves? Which it took, as you can see, we started those conversations in 2003 and it opened in 2006. So when you said many, many meetings, 3 years worth of meetings and planning and working through to get that dog shelter. When I met, I'm blanking on her first name,
Karen.
Officer Hilfiker, Karen, right, thank you. She actually took me on a ride along, and she was an employee of Public Works because the dog shelter services were operated by Public Works. But she had also, there had been, I think, an independent dog services program in Marion County, and then it moved under the sheriff's office. And she had been in all of those places, and then it was in Public Works, and then when Community Services Department was created, how many years ago, Tammy, have you been in department? 4 years ago, my gosh. 4 years ago, we said, let's move dog services from Public Works, and they'd been doing a great job. They had a lot of heart for it, but kind of too many things going on in Public Works, and we wanted to really move that so that they could focus on their primary mission. And you all have done such a great job with the program since you've had it, because it really is a community program. I mean, look at all of the volunteers and all of the community businesses and connections that you're making for the program, which is exactly what it needs. So anyway, that's where we come full circle to today, 2016, but I just wanted to kind of throw that little bit of a history there so that people understand how we got from there to here.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Great. John, do you have anything? No? Okay. Well, I'll save mine for Saturday on the 8th. And thank you for your presentation and
You're welcome.
for your service. Appreciate it.
We hope to see everyone out there on the 8th.
Oh, I know it. Does Jolene have a copy of the PDF of the flyer, the last flyer?
She does.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we're going to move on to our action items. First action item today is to consider recommendations to the Marion County Health Plan for Plan Year 2017. And Justine is here with us today.
Good morning.
Good morning, welcome.
Well, good morning, and can you believe we're working on 2017 health plans? It just seems like 16 really flew by, even more so than years past. So this year, we've been working on an RFP on the health plan side to really explore alternatives to the MOTA plan that we have here at Marion County currently. MOTA offers a preferred provider health plan as well as a high deductible health plan. And then attached to the high deductible health plan through KeyBank, we also offer HSA, health savings arrangement. And so the HIS committee, the Health Insurance Study Committee, that gets together every year, and they do a lot of really good work on exploring the health plans and looking at plan designs. We look at the how the plans are running, and they make some really good suggestions about how they would like to adjust the plans in upcoming years. So they've been working pretty hard since around July, and up until last week, we had the final meeting of the season to talk about recommendations for this coming year, 2017. So the Marion Health Plan, Marion County Employee Health Plan consists of 2 preferred provider plans for both the MCLEA groups and the non-MCLEA groups, a high deductible plan for the non-MCLEA groups, and 2 Kaiser HMO plans, one for the MCLEA and one for the non-MCLEA. During the RFP process to look at alternative to the MOTA, we did interview the 4 top respondents. We looked at things like plan cost, disruption. That's looking at the preferred provider networks to make sure that whatever plan we choose will not overly disrupt the care providers that folks are seeing. And then we also did some reference checks. We interviewed the respondents as well. The HIS committee looked at all of this material as well. We did some pretty in-depth review on the disruptions and service guarantees and that kind of thing. And the HIS committee did want to recommend that we use regents starting in 2017 for both the PPO and the high deductible health plans. And they also would like to stick with the Kaiser HMO plans for those designs. We also looked at alternatives in the dental plan. As you know, the dental plan that we currently offer, it's called Delta Dental, and it's the side name on there is ODS, also owned by MOTA. However, the dental plan and the medical plans that MOTA offers, they run very separate. So their financials are kept separately and all of that. In reviewing the respondents for the dental plan, it did not appear that any of the other respondents offered the same level of preferred provider network. So the disruption would be pretty great were we to move away from the Delta Dental plan. So the HIS committee did want to recommend that we stay with Delta Dental, and we also have the Kaiser Dental plan as well. Employees have the choice of one of the medical plans and one of the dental plans, so they get to mix and match if they like. We've also gone out to bid on the ancillary programs, and we do not have a recommendation at this time. We will be interviewing respondents tomorrow, actually, and we're down to a couple of providers that look pretty possible. One's a local company called PBS, and the other is Allegiance, and that would replace the Benefit Help Solution Services, the flexible spending accounts, the Retiree Health Administration, as well as the COBRA administration. So we'll have more to follow on that. We also looked at, as well as the HIS group, looking at the non-MCLEA plans, we also looked at the MCLEA plans. And the recommendation there would be to go with whatever carriers we use for the MCLEA plans. So Regents for both MCLEA and non-MCLEA. The HIS committee also looked at some plan design options. In looking at the costs that were quoted for the health plans, it became apparent that we could actually save some money with one of these other carriers, and that combined with the increased cap that we're looking at coming January 1st, it looked like there was a little bit of room to make some adjustments. The HIS committee also did a survey of employees to see whether they preferred to spend more money out of their paychecks for the cost of the plan itself, or whether they would rather spend more money at the point of service in copays, deductibles, coinsurance, that kind of thing. And it actually came in kind of equal. It was kind of evenly split. One thing we did notice was that folks who used the plan more would rather pay more out of their paycheck, whereas the folks who didn't use the plan as much would rather pay at the point of service. So no surprises there. But it was good to get that feedback. However, even with that, there was a desire on the part of the HIS committee to look at some of those out-of-pocket costs at the point of service and to find a good balance between the plan cost through what the county and employees share and what they're paying when they go see the physicians. So a summary of what the HIS committee would like to recommend is, again, the carrier of choice for the PPO and HSA plans would be Regents. The HSA plan, they would like to, the HSA is the, I'm sorry, it should be high deductible health plan. We tend to use that term kind of interchangeably. The HSA is actually the savings account that goes alongside. They would like to reduce the out-of-pocket maximum, which is currently $3,800 for individuals, $7,600 for families, down to $3,000 individual and $6,000 for families. That doesn't change the deductible. The deductible that we have on the high deductible health plan is actually as low as we can have it and still call it a high deductible health plan. So there's no suggestion to change that, just the out-of-pocket maximum, and that's the point at which the plan starts paying 100% after somebody's out-of-pocket reaches that much. Another change that they'd like to make is something that was offered by Regents at no additional charge to their original quote, and that would be changing the vision hardware allowance, so glasses, contact lenses, and lenses and frames for glasses and contact lenses, from $200 every 2 years to $200 every year. So that's a nice enhancement that Regents offered up at no additional cost. The committee felt that that would be nice for folks who, for example, have glasses and contacts. They can fill one year and one the next and not have to wait the 24 months. On the PPO plan, the committee would like to request that we reduce the deductibles from $600 individual and $1,800 family down to $300 individual and $900 family. That's still a very a reasonable deductible, and it does reduce it by half, and that would be considered quite an enhancement to the program. And also to do a little bit of adjustment on the coinsurance and co-payments. So the one thing that they'd like to do is change the in-network office visit from a 30% coinsurance to a $15 copay. So you know when you walk in the door, it's not a percentage, but a flat dollar amount of $15. And then also reduce the specialist visit copay from $35 to $15. And the same vision change as the high deductible health plan there as well, from every year to, or every other year to every year on the $200. And their recommendation for dental is to renew the Kaiser and Dental, Delta Dental Health dental plans with no changes on those. And as we got further into the process, Delta actually did reduce their quote by 4% on the dental, which was kind of nice. It actually brought it brought it down quite a bit, so there's a reduction in cost over current year. On the health savings account, the HSA, and currently, this is a vehicle for folks to, on a pre-tax basis, save money to cover the out-of-pocket expenses that are associated with the high deductible health plan. And they can spend that money pre-tax as well. So with a higher deductible, there's a higher out-of-pocket. So the idea of these HSA programs is to allow folks to save towards that deductible and other out-of-pocket expenses. Currently, the county does contribute what is considered equal to 50% of that deductible annually, and prorated for folks who come onto the plan mid-year, into those accounts for folks. So currently, the county contribution is $625 for individual, $1,300 for family. And the HIS committee wanted to request that the commissioners do elect to continue that contribution up into 2017. On the MCLEA programs, our experience is held a little bit separately on those plans. So when carriers are looking at it, they do look at each group individually as far as rates go. And the PPO plan came in pretty close to flat. I think it's like a 0.3% increase on that. Actually, the Kaiser plan came in 0.3%, and the PPO plan came in at like 1.6% increase over current year if we were to move to Regents. And the recommendation on that is to just renew those plans as is, going with Regents and no plan changes. And then the HMO plan renew with Kaiser, again, no plan changes. And the same with the dental. So those are a lot of decisions to make. I did summarize them for you on the agenda review form, and I included in your packets some of the spreadsheets that the HIS committee had looked at, some worksheets on the out-of-pocket costs for both employees out of their paychecks, as well as what the county share of each of those plans would be with and without the recommended changes.
Go ahead.
Well, thank you. I don't have any questions, and the reason I don't have any questions is because you have done such a fabulous job of keeping the board involved. We've had management updates, we've had a work session where we have gone through, we had a spreadsheet on the wall where we got to see if this happened, then this, then this. So I feel like I'm really well prepared for this board item today, and I just wanted to express my appreciation to you for all the work that you've done. Secondly, I wanted to say that the HIS committee, they just do such a yeoman's job in getting all of this information together and making these recommendations. When I'm being a historian today, it shows maybe I'm getting too old, but in 2003, the first year I was a commissioner, it seemed like we got the HISC minutes, and they met really frequently, and I was attempting to read everything at that point because I was a new commissioner, and not that you're not supposed to read everything, but the HISC minutes, when I would read through them, they were so technical. I mean, they were and so lengthy. So at this point now, I really leave it to the HIS committee to dig through all of those details, and then when they've kind of reached a point where they're decision points, rather than trying to start from the beginning. But from reading those minutes, I can really appreciate the job that they have to do in learning about all of these plans and what the options are, and the various components of all of these different plans. And then I guess the last point I wanted to make, that I believe that the board has been very supportive of the changes that are being made in the plans. We have, back in 2003, 2004, 2005, we were seeing double-digit increases in the health plans. I think when I started, it was in the 700s in terms of what our cap was, and now it's 1349,
Yeah,
13.
The new cap.
It was on the second page.
Actually jotted it down.
Right. No, third page, sorry.
The new cap is $1,396.
$1,396, right, because we added $50 to that.
$50, yeah.
Right, as part of the contract with our largest union, Marion County Employees Association, and that covers everybody. And because of that change in the cap, I think we were able to do some things that needed to be done. I skipped over a thing. We were seeing double-digit increases, and then we asked HIS to really look at how we could keep those increases down. And I think there a couple things happened. One is that, like I said, HIS has done such a good job in doing that. Secondly, we have a firm that we work with, and I think they're really good at helping us negotiate the prices, as you were talking about, so that we don't just take what's offered us, but we actually dicker back and forth. But in doing that, I think the changes that have been made to the plan over time have increased deductibles, and they have increased out-of-pocket minimums, and they have increased all of these other types of things, or out-of-pocket minimums, maximums?
Maximums.
Maximums, sorry. So by making the changes, we're kind of moving back, I think, to a plan that's going to be more friendly to families and to our employees to be able to, I mean, because if you have a health insurance plan, but you have to spend thousands of dollars before it kicks in, you know, then it really isn't a plan that's covering the medical needs of our employees and our families. So I like where we've landed on this. I think that the change to Regents is actually going to be a good thing for the county. I appreciate that staying with Delta Dental also, and the disruption factor that you talked about. I think that's going to be good for the employees. For those that have the health savings accounts, having the county make that contribution, I think makes it more possible for employees to choose that option. Otherwise, it's kind of out of reach in terms of the amount of money that you have to put into that. So I think all of the plans that you have here, and really modest increases in terms of what it's going to cost out of pocket for employees, but a lot more benefit for those modest increases, I think, than what we've seen in the past few years. So again, thank you very much for your work on this.
Thank you. And I am, have to say, as a benefit manager, I'm very proud of the plans that we offer. We've got some great staff. They're in the benefits department, Betsy and Kathy, who work really hard to make sure that everyone gets enrolled and everyone understands their programs. They talk to employees at every new hire orientation and go over the benefit plans. And I know you mentioned Brown and Brown, our broker and consultant. They do a pretty good job, and the HIS committee is really phenomenal. They do a lot of work. They really take this task very seriously. After our open enrollment is finished this year, we're going to be really digging into the community charter and really updating that, and so that'll be pretty exciting to see how the group continues to operate. It really is a nice committee, and we get a lot of really good input and a lot of thought.
So we found the charter. I know Jen was
We
looking.
did find the
Jen was
charter,
looking
yes.
for that a week or so ago. Do you remember a charter? I don't remember seeing a charter.
Yeah. Well, what we have, it's considered a working charter because at some point, all of the historical information, so essentially what's in the minutes, was included in the charter, so they couldn't actually finalize it because it was like this working, running document. So what we're going to do is really work to define this is the charter, and then have the minutes, hopefully like on SharePoint or something, so that people can just access them. Committee members and yourself as well, commissioners or whoever needs to look at them, so that we're a lot more transparent about those. Everyone knows that we have minutes. They know that they can request them, but it's so much easier when you can just go grab them. So hopefully that's some work that will get done after open enrollment, of course, when we've got everybody situated and settled into their new programs.
Okay, well, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Justine. I just want to make a couple comments, and I know you made these, like Commissioner said, we've been kept communicated on this subject, and I really want to compliment you for that, but I want to make a couple comments that observations during this time. And you made a statement about the people who don't access the health care or would like to reduce the amount coming out of their paycheck. Those that do would like to have better benefits. And when you look at this year's plans, both those things happened. And I just want to I'm reading sideways because one of the things on our thing is sideways, but this year there are 3 different combinations of plans that the employees could take. This is non-MCLE, that have 0 out of their paychecks.
Correct.
Last year there was only 1.
Correct.
The other thing that I would say, so, and on top of that, the deductibles went down, out-of-pockets went down. So our employees, I know they're not listening because they're working right now, but they need to understand that both those things happened this year. 2.8% increases and seeing an increase in benefits, 1% increases, seeing an increase in benefits is fantasy land in the world of healthcare today. And so what I want to really stress is, and we talked about this is a great year for us to be able to celebrate this. What's going to happen in the future, and we're going to have to be really, really careful. And it's always easy to give some of these things and make them better. It's harder to when it gets worse in the future. So good news, great news for our employees. Thank you for their good work. And next year we'll be back here. And if we can do this 2 years in a row, we got to put you on the moon or something, because it's amazing to see what's happening with these healthcare costs. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, well, Mr. Chair, I would then move that the board approve these recommendations, these HISC recommendations to the Marion County Health Plan for Plan Year 2017.
I'll second your motion. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Thank you.
it's a good thing. Okay, next up, action item is from the Sheriff's Office, and Commander Lawrence is here, and it's consider approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon State Hospital in the amount of $163,177.32 to provide secure non-emergent medical transport services from all Oregon State Hospital patients classified under ORS 161.370. Welcome, Commander. Good to have you with us.
Thank you. Good morning. So the reason I'm here today is to discuss the intergovernmental agreement that would allow us, our staff, court security staff, to transport patients from the state hospital to medical appointments. The patients would be the 370 population, and those patients come from all over the state of Oregon. They've been found, there's concerns that they can't aid and assist. They don't have the ability to aid and assist in their defense. So they go to the state hospital for assessments and to determine if they are able to. And oftentimes they have medical appointments, and the state hospital is not. They have been transporting them, but their commission has said they should not be, that it needs to be a secure transport, and that they needed to find somebody to do that. So they approached us and asked us if we would consider doing that. And this allows us, we looked at our current staffing and determined with our current staffing we just couldn't do it. So our recommendation was to enter a contract, to add a position, add the material and services to provide that position to do those transports.
Any questions?
So it's an 88-page contract.
It
So
is.
can you tell me, so are these people then going to ride in sheriff's vehicles? I mean, how does it become, what's the difference between secure and non-emergent, I guess, and how do those fit together?
So if a patient is injured and it's an emergent need, they need to call an ambulance. So they can call an ambulance, and the ambulance company will then transport. These are for medical appointments, if somebody has a dentist appointment or needs a scan of some type while they're in their care.
Okay.
And then we would do the transport. So they're scheduled appointments. We've been working with them, looking at their scheduling. They will schedule the appointments with local doctors' offices, and then we would provide. And secure just means that they would be handcuffed. They have to be handcuffed in order to leave the facility.
Okay. And do you have a sense about how many people you're going to be providing transportation for? How often?
We've looked at the schedule, and it averages 1 or 2 a day. Okay. And there are some days where there are no appointments.
So a question, and maybe this is just for me to understand the accounting of this, because under bullet point 3B, OHA will pay only for completed work under this agreement and may make interim payments. Is the work that they're paying for, are they paying as a transfer has occurred, or is it a monthly contract? In other words, we're going to hire staff to do this.
Right.
And if for a month they have no transfers, I'm just hypothetically throwing that out.
No, it's not. It's they are funding, contracting a position and the materials and services. So if we don't have a transport, we use that staff member.
So they're funding the position and the equipment that would be used
Exactly.
for that. Okay, thank you. John?
One of the problems with doing a contract with a state agency is that it always goes through the Department of Justice, and these contracts are the most unbelievable things you'd ever see, and we have to work very hard not to put ourselves at risk because of what they're trying to do to protect the state agency. They don't care about us. So you mentioned the 88-page contract.
Might be 87, but still.
Well, whatever. That's still too
Oh, I said
long,
88.
but that is because of what DOJ is putting into these contracts, and it's become quite an issue statewide with what they're doing to local governments.
And then,
Okay.
how long does this contract last for? Or what are the renewal provisions, all of that?
Of annual renewal provisions, and it's a 5-year contract is what that they wanted a 10-year contract. We said let's start with a 5 and then with the annual.
And if it's not
review.
working out, there's provisions for termination, so.
Absolutely.
And what, usually like a 30, 60-day notice, something like that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. All right.
All right.
Well, Mr. Chair, I would move that the board approve an intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon State Hospital in the amount of $163,177.32 to provide secure, non-emergent medical transport services for Oregon State Hospital patients classified under ORS 161-370.
I'll second the motion, and in discussion, we did hear about this or saw this someplace before. I can't remember, it was in a work session.
Work session,
Yeah,
yes.
okay. A while back, so this isn't the first time we've talked about this. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thanks, Sheila.
Thank you.
It's good to see you always.
As always, nice to see you guys as well, even John.
Well, now you're talking. Okay, so I'll read the calendar. You start on those. At 2:30 today, Capitol Community Television, CCTV taping, location at the CCTV office, 575 Trade Street, Southeast in Salem. Tomorrow, Thursday, the 29th, a work session on human resources, class, and compensation. Location here in the 5th floor at the Silverton Conference Room. Monday, 8 a.m., Mid-Willamette Homeless Initiative Financial and Affordable Housing Subcommittee, and that is on the 3rd on Monday at 8 a.m. here in the Commissioner's Boardroom, not the ballroom, on the 5th floor. Also on October 3rd, Monday, 8:30 a.m. calendar review in the Silverton Conference Room here in this building on the 5th floor. Monday at 9 a.m., October 3rd, management update, Silverton Conference Room on the 5th floor here in this building. On October 4th, Tuesday at 8 a.m., 2016 Hope Builder Breakfast at the Salem Convention Center, 200 Commercial Street Southeast. Also on Tuesday the 4th at 10 a.m., Marion County Housing Authority Board Meeting here on the 5th floor in the Silverton Conference Room. On Wednesday the 5th, 9 a.m., we'll be back here for our board session. Wednesday the 5th, Woodburn, Marion County meeting at Luis's Taqueria at 523 Front Street in Woodburn. So, what's new since we were meeting last Wednesday?
My
Oh,
grandson had his 8th birthday. That's new.
8? Wow. I did go up Wednesday afternoon after board session to DEQ up in Portland for the, I can't remember what they call the meeting, but it was for those marinas for their applications with the Army Corps and all the state agencies. And we found out that every time I go to a meeting, there's more stuff that we have to go through. So we're working on that with Business Oregon. Actually had 3 consultants, 2 in the room and 1 on the phone that'll help. Business Oregon got them a grant to help with the consultants get through the situation. So that was a big deal. Yesterday I did a ride along with our one of our septic inspectors.
I saw your notes on that.
Yeah. And, you know, I'll just say this. We have people who have certain technical expertise, and then they get in a situation where they have to do a lot of other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't get creative. We need to get creative to say, wait, why is this person, and in fact, the individual made a comment when we were getting out of the car saying, you pay me a lot of money to do this job. And I got out and I said, I'm glad to hear you say that. We pay you a lot of money. And she said, no, for clerical work.
Right.
And so just trying to be creative to say, because I think there's just all these boxes that we get in, and instead of saying, how do we support this person with what they need, to allow them to go out and do what they're really skilled and
Right, to
trained.
maximize their time actually doing the inspection as opposed to doing all the other stuff that goes around that.
And they have made some really good changes that she talked about, having somebody answer all her phone calls, et cetera. That's really helped a lot, she said. And she smiled when she said it. I thought, wow, I could see her smile and go, this is really a positive thing for her. So it was really good. I just enjoyed doing those. And then, of course, having a management team or a leadership team that would go back and say, all right, every day, I use that as an example. It's not every day, but once a week or once a month, sitting down with that group and saying, what worked right, what didn't work right, and how
Right.
can we improve upon it?
I
So
think your point too about, with the golf course, making sure, all it takes is just like a check. Okay, we're confirming, we're coming, to make sure that you're not wasting your time driving around to things where you're not going to be able to.
yeah, because they have to do that on like electrical inspection to get into somebody's house. I remember when I had an inspection all the way up in Detroit, they called. I called in for the inspection. They called the next morning and said, we'll be there between 8 and 12, somebody there. Just that type of communication would help reduce some of them. So, yeah, it was fun, and I got to wear Levi's and got my boots all dirty. And it wasn't smelly. We didn't do anything smelly. So.
Well, let's see, the most fun thing I did yesterday was go to the Solid Waste Management Advisory Council meeting.
Oh, last night?
Yeah.
Oh, I would have
And
been.
They had a good meeting, and a lot of conversation about education. I was commenting on our staff meeting we had and just the ins and outs of people understanding what to throw in the recycle bin and what not to. And there were some stories that were told about in Europe, how they have recycle bins where they just have very clear instructions on the lids of each of these, what goes in and what doesn't go in and that type of thing. And
Trying to get to that point.
yeah, right. Well, and the discussion of multifamily came up because of the chair. Thomas lives in a multifamily complex, and he was just saying that people were throwing pizza boxes and glass bottles and things into the recycle bin, and kind of asking what they could do to resolve that. So, very interesting.
So I was at the, with Brian, I was at the Woodburn City Council meeting, was that Monday night? Monday night, when they did their approval. It was a pretty big increase for them, percentage-wise. But it was, on the low end, it was a $2 a barrel. And, they asked me to come up and explain why we had our big increase, and I did. So there's, I think, one more of those done. The only one that's
Yeah, the one that's
is
left is sublimity.
Sublimity.
So they said that maybe they could get a former mayor to come out and
Yeah,
talk with them about what was going on.
yeah, that's what I said, so we're almost through that. Yeah, that's good. Okay, I think we're good. We got some work to do, and we will adjourn.